Studio at Home.
Hi, welcome to Studio at Home. I'm Kim, and more than likely you've probably seen me around the museum. Well, I teach there, and today I'm teaching from my own home. Most likely you are at home too, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. Today we will be making hand-sewn creatures. These are inspired by Ju-Young Che's installation in the state-of-the-art 2020 exhibition. We'll get started by taking a look at the artist first. We are looking at Ju-Young Che's Time for You and Joy to Get Acquainted. This lovely 2017 felt installation consists of wooden armature, fabric, and polyfoam. As you can see, the dinosaur here is named Perennial Favorites. It inhabits a special planet created to house all of Earth's brontosauruses during the times when scientists flip-flop as to whether this brontosaurus ever really existed as its own distinct species. Positioned on top of the dinosaur are, from left to right, Captain Spacey Otano, Amplexus, Put-Put, and Rainbow Rabbit, a small selection of an ever-growing cast of creatures that make up Che's fantastical universe, the Cosmic Womb. Blending autobiography into a sprawling, imaginative space, Che's work tackles a wide variety of topics, such as, where do imaginary friends go after kids stop believing in them? And also exploring her own sense of displacement as a South Korean child adopted by a white American family. You can pause this video or scroll back to any step if you need to. Today you will need paper, a pencil, sewing or embroidery thread, a sewing needle, painter's tape, tacky glue or hot glue, polyester stuffing or styrofoam popcorn, fabric scraps such as an old book cover, cloth pieces, or felt, and last, scissors. So, our creature can be made in a lot of different ways. You can think of 3 animals you really love, and it could be a chimera of those animals. You can also think about the issues that you may be dealing with right now. Okay, so next we are going to cut out our sewing pattern. You're going to take your fabric scraps that you've collected, and you're going to need a large enough piece that will actually cover your sewing pattern. And this is because we're going to start tracing the pattern onto the fabric. So this is where a Sharpie will come in handy. If you don't have a Sharpie, I think you can try a regular marker as well. I'm going to use the felt that I have. So you're going to take another fabric scrap, and you're also going to trace your sewing pattern onto that fabric as well. So I'm going to use the second piece of felt that I have. And you do need to trace 2, and that's because we are going to create a front and a back side. And we are going to cut out our fabric shapes. So let's just take a look at our sewing pattern and see what we have left. So it looks like we got a couple of details. So let's grab the rest of our fabric scraps. we're going to trace our detail shapes directly onto the fabric. And you may notice that there's, you might have a lot of layering in your details. So for instance, my eyeball actually has an eyelid on it and a pupil. That's okay. We'll just go ahead and do the outside shape first. Continue tracing or freehand drawing your smaller shapes, then cut them out. So our next goal is to actually attach the front side and the back side together. We have two options. We can either glue the edges of both sides down, or we can actually sew the edges. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to do a little bit of both. So in order to sew, you will need a sewing needle, and mine's still in the magnet from earlier, and your sewing thread. I'm going to choose white for my creature. So grab yourself a long strand of thread and go ahead and cut it off the spool. So I'm going to go ahead and cut myself off a good piece. Next is the tricky part. This is called the eye of the needle. It actually has a hole, as you can see here. We're going to need to put that strand right through the hole. So the easiest way that I can do it is by taking the end of the strand of string and licking it. Sounds gross, but it actually works. And that will help keep the end from fraying. You're going to put the end of the string through the hole, and you might need some assistance for this. Oh, I got it through. Awesome. You're going to pull the string through once you get it through the hole, and pull the string about halfway, so that way you have two even tails coming out each side of the eye. So as you can see, I have two strands coming out of the hole of the needle. At the end of the two strands, you're going to create a loop, and then you're going to pull the ends through that loop in order to create a knot to do some sewing. So we're going to get started by placing the front side of our creature on top of the back side. And I like to start at a corner. You're going to take this needle and you're going to poke it through both pieces of felt. Try to get as close to the edge as possible, but leave a little bit of room. As you can see, I did it here. And you're just going to pull that string through. Oop, string's getting caught. You're going to pull it through till it reaches the knot that we created. And then on the same side that you started out with, I started out with the front side. I'm going to go ahead and pierce both pieces of felt again with the needle. And I'm just going to pull it through. I'm going to keep on doing that. Somewhere along the way, you're going to reach the end, near the end of your thread. And you want to leave a good inch of thread left. You're going to use your needle to actually tie off a knot on the end of this thread. So I'm going to finish sewing this other side of my creature, and then for the rest of the sides, I will show you guys how to hot glue it down. So grab your hot glue gun or your tacky glue, and you're going to open up the front side of your creature, and you're essentially going to put a line of hot glue down. And keep it close to the edge, but not too close. You want to leave a little bit of room. And this is the most important part. You definitely want to leave an edge open. Do not glue or sew down one of the edges, because that's where you will put your stuffing in. And that will make your creature come alive. So I'm going to carefully smooth the edges so the hot glue can glue together the front and back side. And now I have an opening to stuff my creature. As I mentioned in the beginning, you can use polyester stuffing, which is a common filler that's found inside pillows. I took some out of an old pillow that I don't use anymore. Or you can also use packing peanuts. And for this last part, you can either sew the last edge down or you can hot glue the edge. And here's how it turned out. Now you can join as friend. So you can make multiple of these if you want, especially if you have more fabric scraps at home. And you can place them anywhere in your home that you like. I find the bedroom is best since it's a creature of comfort. Well, thanks for joining me, y'all. See you next time.